Excellent. Well, thank you very much for being here with me today. Omer, would you please just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and sort of your journey to becoming the serial entrepreneur that you are today?
Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure to have a talk with you. I'm Omer. I'm originally from Turkey. I was born there, and the journey of Omer is actually started from to understand what the essence of life and everything since the beginning. I was trying to achieve. Yeah, nobody was showing me okay what I had to do. I was just trying to get the success what the life was preparing for me, and I was trying to be a successful student, and I was one of the best students actually in the country. Then I was trying to be a good employee. Then I said, okay, I need to do something, and I tried to be a good entrepreneur. And everything that I have been trying all my life is to do good things, because I'm just trying to live a good things through my life. That's what I'm trying to do. And in brief, I'm a person just trying to develop the goodness all of my life. That's who I am.
And you said that kind of from an early age, you wanted to understand the essence of life. Where do you think that came from? Do you think that was just something inside of you? Did that have anything to do with the way that your family was? Like, where do you think that hunger for knowledge kind of came from?
Actually, I was feeling lonely, and because when I was looking around, it was not easy for me to adapt. All the children were enjoying whatever they were doing, and I was also doing that. I was playing with them, but at the end of the day, I was thinking differently. It was obvious, and I couldn't lie myself. I was looking at other children and looking at myself, and I said that is something doesn't fit with them, and instead of crying to that situation, I said, look, I need to understand why these things don't satisfy me, why I need something else. Then I started to question and started to read. To this whatever, ask people, ask elderly people, experienced people. The questions were quite weird, but when you ask so many questions, people didn't like. That's what I have experienced. People don't like questions. People don't like thinking about their actions or their life. Then when I understand my questions were disturbing people, then I started to ask myself. When you start to ask yourself, what you have to do is just increase your awareness and knowledge and experience, and the experience comes from the actions. And the actions, if I said, if I have big actions, big impact on life, then I will have more experience, and this experience will teach me. And when I learn as much as possible, I will find the answers to my questions at least as much as possible. It seems always I will never find all of the questions, but I guess the success is the number of answers that you can answer to yourself, and that's how it happened.
And so in the early part of your entrepreneurial journey, a lot of those questions sort of led you to solar energy. Can you tell me a
Yeah,
little bit about that and what attracted you to that space and in that first company?
yes, actually, I was just 7 or 8 years old. It was 1992, I guess, or 93. When I first read about the climate change, and I was watching some futuristic movies. It was showing 2020s, and I remember those movies, and it was showing okay the water shortage, and people were fighting for the water, and the climate were changing. In those days, nobody were, maybe care about it. But it affected me a lot because the nature is the pure perfectness for me. And when I look around, when I see the sea or the greens or the sand, it was perfect, and it affected me. All my life actually, I tried lots of things, but the main reason that I started my entrepreneur journey with the renewable energy was actually from my childhood. I was lucky to find such an opportunity, but it was interesting when I graduated. The first steps of the renewable energy was there, and I had a chance to be one of the early movers. Actually, it's a part of your destiny. Those age, yeah, you were sensitive to the climate, and almost really, you have tears in your eyes as a child. And when you graduate, you find an opportunity to work in a company that might open a door for you to start a renewable energy journey. Yeah, I don't know what you say, but I guess everything is connected, and that's how I started. But the same reason I stopped actually that journey, with the same reason, because what I understood is people in the renewable energy industry were not focusing on the save the climate or but something else. The main focus was just the material, just to generate more cash. And when you see around, it will not save the world. This perspective will not save the world. Then you are starting to think about something else to save the world. And that's how I jumped to the AI, where everybody thinks that is the main risk. But I think that is the only tool, if we use right, to save the world.
So that just is an interesting point, because I think a lot of times, like, people are motivated to entrepreneurship because of a passion, like you were, about the environment and saving the world. But then is a startup, which by its nature is, often invested in by outside parties and needs to generate some sort of a return. Is it the right vehicle to actually fulfill that passion of saving it? Or actually, for a young person, would it be better to think about a nonprofit or something like that? But in this situation, you had the foresight to understand sort of the renewable energy, and you talk about it on your LinkedIn bio as a revolution. And now you have seen this next revolution about microbiomes and AI. And that's obviously, like, a successful company is finding the right product at the right moment for the market as well, too. Are there, like, as you looked at these things, were you like actively looking for revolutions, or are there certain signals that you can say, wow, this is something that's about to get hot, this is where I want to invest my time? How do you, what would be your thoughts there?
Actually, of course, I cannot, prove it, but I guess when you feel something, when you want something, when you search something, so you are sending an energy to the universe, and you have a connection with them, and it fits. It was all about almost 5 years ago, when I tried to do, a new thing that can really impactful and change people's life. I didn't start with just the Enbiosis. I invested different startups from legal tech or educational tech. But when I choose, okay, one of my investments, okay, I just wanted to focus one of those due to the financial limitation. I did choose Enbiosis. When I choose Enbiosis, it was my wedding day, and I said, okay, I feel okay, I just need to do something, and I need to focus on all these AI startups. And Enbiosis, I did choose the Enbiosis. Then after just few months, the pandemic started, and it is all about what I had chosen to lead the project, and the pandemic started. That showed me that, okay, I had the right choice. I'm in the the right direction. And from that day to today, I'm just trying to bring this philosophy to the level that will be, that is real, that can really affect the human life practically. The problem of today's life, look, unfortunately, I have to judge as a humanity. Yeah, we are doing business, but why we are doing business never is a question never answered by people. We are lost in our time. But the thing is, we don't have a philosophy. We forgot the philosophy. Before, if we would have a philosophy, the real philosophy, everybody should have a philosophy, I think. And then on top of the philosophy, we should have rational mathematics, then business. But when we jump onto the business directly, we try to earn money, but we don't have our roots. I wanted to follow the philosophy, and the philosophy was to do something for people. And I was looking around, and the conventional treatments, yeah, we all know there is something wrong. I don't have to say, but we are all aware. Billions of people are aware. There is something wrong in the treatment today. There is something wrong. I don't want to say what is the wrong thing is, but we are suffering in our current diseases. Yeah, we are in the 21st century. We have lots of scientists. We have technology. We have lots of investments, but still, our average lifetime is 75 or 80 years, and the last 10 years or 15 years are suffering with lots of pains. So we couldn't achieve the level that we deserved, I guess. And then all these things started with the discovery of new things, and that's how I met the right people, the right business, the right concept, the right science. And now I see that, okay, I am exactly the right time, at the right location, at the right vision. So all things happen simultaneously.
So you had the success with the renewable energy company, then you had the investment company where you put a bunch of different bets. You then
Yes.
said, okay, I want to focus my time. I have a history, has always wanted to do good. You
Yeah.
looked around and you said, there is so much science, so much technology, so many advancements, yet there still seems to be this fundamental flaw where our quality of life, particularly near the end of our life, hasn't improved.
Yes.
So that's the problem I want to tackle. So can you tell me a little bit more about Enbiosis specifically and sort of how you're tackling that problem?
Yeah, exactly. What I bet on the Enbiosis is when I understood the potential of the bacteria, actually. It was reasonable for me. I said, if I understand the first living things in the universe, it would give me a chance to understand the dynamics of life. That was the main philosophy, actually. And I understood these, living things, microorganisms all over the universe, not limited to the world. And, they have their own life, they have their own characters, they have communications with each other and with ourselves. So, but we have no idea about them. Since that time and since today, till today, we always look them. There are the microbes that we have to kill. So, I was looking at the supermarkets for the, some, so 99% of the bacteria that you kill if you use that gel, something like that. So the bacteria were like an enemies. But, when I read more about it, when I started to learn in that, I said, they don't deserve to be an enemy. If we have a good relation with them, if we understand their dynamics, if we act with them, they can be a friend for us against viruses, right? And they can be helpful for our, improve our, health quality, life quality, and they can feed us. So I guess having a good relation with the bacteria, with the human being, was the best option. That was my thought, actually. And since then, we try to understand. First of all, why we started with the gut health is because 90% of the microorganisms are living in the gut.
Yeah.
When we look at the human body, 90% in the gut. Of course, these microorganisms everywhere on the soil, on the earth, on the oceans, everywhere. But we had to start somewhere, and the best option for us to start in the gut. And we said, okay, if we can understand the language of these bacteria in the gut, if we heal them, if we make their ecosystem better, so it will be also helpful for the all human body or all our health. That was the hypothesis. Actually, that's how we started. That is how we develop this technology, and now still developing further technologies to discover this space, because the microbiome is like a space. Seriously, there are trillions of bacteria which have this almost similar numbers as the stars in the space. And as 90% of the space is dark matter, right? It is almost similar in our gut. We don't know, it's 90% is dark. So and what I say is, we are living on an earth, just one planet, and there are lots of things to do to discover the space, right? It is same. We just know nothing about the gut, and there are lots of things to discover in the the microbiome. So that is how we structured the Enbiosis philosophy and vision as a discovery company. We are not a product company, or we are not just a solution company. We said, okay, the discovery has just started, and we would like to be the leader of discovery. So that's what we are doing, and all the strategy is on top of this philosophy.
So for somebody that doesn't maybe isn't as deep scientifically as you are, what are some of the potential sort of benefits of some of the future discoveries that you could do? Like what does unlocking the microbe
Yeah, for example, in the future, people will not need to sleep. In the future, probably we will find a way to make the people, the perpetual happiness. In the future, probably we will find a way to feed the people, them with just, let's say, specific ingredients, and we will know how will affect the, human body. So, we will find a way to feed billions of people, whatever the environmental condition is. And actually, if we really know what is going on with the bacteria, if we learn, if we decode the system, it will open a door. I don't want to be too much, but something that even we cannot dream today. As I said, it's not only we will be able to solve the chronic problems. It is 99%. I don't want to say it because it is the easy solution, but above the chronic problems, about the well-being and about the life, how we live will change. How we look at the universe will change. And if we want to, explore the universe with the multi-planet, strategy, we need, we need to change our human body. We need to change our biology. We need to adapt them. And the only way that we can adapt to the, changing environment is to change ourselves. And how you change is to understand, your ecosystem, your codes. And if you think that 99% of the DNA, what we cover today is the microorganisms DNA, just 1% is our own DNA. So it means if we need to adapt to the changing environment, not only in the world, maybe other planets, we have to decode the system and rewrite it, when it is necessary. That's actually the potential of this science.
So let me ask you a kind of like a founder entrepreneurial question, right? Like you are starting on day one with gut health and selling a solution, you know what I mean? You have a website, you're telling a story, etc. You want to get to the point where like basically you're exploring outer space through like the microbiomes, like it's fascinating. How do you like kind of like, you know what I mean? Like you're building a brand, like not make yourself just known for gut health, but keep that, you know what I mean? Like kind of like succeed in the short term, but unlock the future of the company as well too, from a strategy standpoint.
Sorry, are you asking our strategy to achieve all these discovery goals, you mean?
Yeah, or just sort of like even from like a messaging and positioning standpoint.
Yeah, okay. You know, it's a very the difficult actually question because you know when you find yourself, let's say, let's turn back to the the first discover of the the America. Okay, when the first the discovery and people started to come to the land, that was a big land, right? And everybody was running and trying to choose a place for them, right? Today for the microbiome it is almost similar.
Okay.
Yeah, and you are looking at a really big area, and wherever you just position yourself will be yours. So here you need to be very careful about what you are doing. If you are so greedy, you can lose everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, because yeah, that's what I understood the recent years. uh to be honest, I was just looking, oh my god, it was so big, I want this, I want this, I want this. But recently I started to learn how to position it, and I'm trying to position the companies, the strategy in the, yeah, it's a big space, and everybody will take their own position in this space.
Right.
And our position should be, we actually, whatever we can get here, whatever the best we can do, we will do. Today we focus on the gut health. That is what we do good. We will focus on that because it's already big there.
Yeah.
We cannot jump to there and there and there, otherwise we will lose everything. Yeah, we started with the gut health. We started with the food and supplements in the beginning, with the natural foods. Yeah, that's a good area. Then we will shift some, gastrointestinal disorders, and we will shift, because the mining strategy is a continuous strategy. So when you have new data and you explore new biomarkers, which means we will have new discoveries, and it will show us. For example, last year we discovered two bacterial gene islands, and we applied for the patent. It was quite interesting because it was not in the plan. It is
Mhm.
just a result of our R&D studies, and because as I said, it's a discovery. You are looking around, just look around and you see something. And in the, this is the power of the AI. When you have the data, so when you have the right code infrastructure, it gives you the signal. And if you have a, with the good team, you can capture the signals and follow the signals and then test it and see, okay, what this signal means. For example, last year, during our R&D, studies and mining and trying to understand what is going on, we got the signals and we just tested the signals. For example, one of the discovery that we have applied for the patent is converting a simple sugar to a bitteret, which means, yeah, we don't know today, we are not sure yet, but after the proof of concept studies and everything, we will work on the, some next generation probiotics, genetically modified, probiotics, and we will see. And there's a potential to solve maybe all the diabetes problem, if we can develop such a product. So as I said, probably in Enbiosis or other players in the market, but I believe the microbiome players in the market, we will find a way. We will find these correlations, and we will solve these problems because the data is there. When we have the more data, when we have if you use the data in a good way, work hard and follow the signals, this will give us lots of opportunities. And we are trying to be calm down and step by step now focusing on the gut health, because gut is a organ that has been forgotten years, many years. It is like it is like yeah. So, but today we started to understand the importance of this organ, but still, we know nothing, almost nothing. So, uh, today for the short term, maybe mid term,
Yep.
that's our strategy. We are there, but of course, the companies, live maybe 100 years or maybe future, then things might change because the space is big. But today, as a leader, I can say we are here and we want to stay here. There are lots of things to do.
So as somebody who has since being a young child wanted to do good and has loved asking questions and has sort of defined success as how many answers to those questions can I find? You're leveraging AI. There are a lot of unknown answers to the questions around AI. Do you have any fears about AI in the future and some of the I just listened to a TED talk the other day that said AI was going to kill us all. Like, what are your thoughts on that and how should people feel about using and benefiting from artificial intelligence?
Actually, if we use the AI as a tool, it will serve us. But if we use AI to satisfy our passions, uh, if these passions are coming from some traumas, and if you use it to, how can I say, like a singularity or some big powers or some, some deep dark passions, then of course there might be a risk. And probably there are some people who are thinking about it, because there are some people when they were child, they didn't have a good family, they had some traumas. We know all the politicians or who destroyed the world right in the past, and it might happen, and probably there will be people who will try this, but there will be people like us who will try to use it in a good way. And as always, it did in the past. There was always a fight, between the good feelings and the bad feeling. It always happened, right? And we cannot stop it. Instead of fearing about it, we just need to work hard. We just need to understand. We just need to be careful as much as possible. But even we try to be careful. There will be people we shouldn't forget. For example, in our business, in the biotechnology, today everybody is playing with the genes, right? Just a small biotech companies are also capable of playing with the genes and playing with the codes. So the technology here, we cannot stop anymore. And probably some of the people will try to use for some bad reasons, right? For some terror attacks, or it can happen. Maybe governments will use it. And we know it. And what we have to do is to protect ourselves. And if something happens, if we have the better technology, if we have the better science, if we work harder, we can stop it. There will be always attack from the bad, how can I say, feelings. But instead of crying and fearing about it, we should be careful and we should work harder. I guess that's what we can do. That's why I'm looking to the AI and the fears about AI.
Yeah, so I guess you're like sort of like if you think about any tool throughout history, from guns to nuclear weapons,
Fire.
fire, right? It can be used for good or evil, and then
Yeah,
we have to make sure that the good people are working with it and trying to
yeah,
use
yeah, yeah, yeah. We cannot ban this. We cannot look. Even we have rules all over the world.
it. Right.
You cannot control 8 billion people, right?
Right.
Almost impossible. So, of course, if you have a technology to control 8 billion, I tell you there is not also good intention behind it. But so
Yeah.
people are free. People are free. People can choose any bad things. It's up to them. What we can choose about us, we can just control us. We can just control our thoughts and actions. That's why we need to, look at us and just focus on what we can do, what we can contribute.
So I just wanted to circle back because you said something that might have been the most entrepreneurial thing that I've ever heard, which was you made your decision to work on Enbiosis on your wedding day.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that? And then I had read in a previous article about the unique wedding present that you gave to your wife. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, look, actually, I invested almost all my money to the different startups. The money that I earned, because I sold my solar power plants. I had some solar power plants, and that were generating revenue, and subsidized by government. So that was there. I had to stop and just enjoy my life. The remaining. But I sold it, and I invested all my money to these startups to do something. And before I married, I said, my wife actually, that time she was still my girlfriend, and I said, look, that's what I can propose, as a startup. And she was a lawyer, and she helped me, of course, while developing that project. And it was one of the first project in the world about the generative AI in 2018. When the OpenAI started that project, I started actually that generative AI project. It was in Turkish, by the way, but the main focus of the project is to help people to achieve, the legal support. That was the sense. And today it's an open platform. Unfortunately, due to the lots of problems, I had to choose and focus on one of the projects, but still it is there. And our vision and mission with my wife is to one day we will leverage that project again, because we want people to achieve the legal support, because most of the people don't have a chance, and they are losing against the capital and the power when they have a problem, or they just leave. But if we have a some achievable technology there that supports their problems, that will be helpful for people to have a pure justice. And because supporting the justice is actually supporting the environment and humanity, and that is how I proposed. The Enbiosis that came in my mind, the wedding was, it was a good day, it was a good night. And yeah, yesterday I was with my friend, and he said, oh, it was the best wedding I attended, because it was a good feeling. It was in the very nice, prosperous sweet 21st June, the longest day of the North Pole, and the moon was there. So as an entrepreneur, and it's as a man who's betting his life to impactful thing and try to do good things, right? And it will not be limited to, by the way, Enbiosis in the future, probably, because I know myself, I will never stop till I die. Probably lead something else, maybe philosophy, maybe politics, I don't know, but there are things are coming on. And when I connect the dots, because people were there, and people who like you, who love you, your friends, and your families, and you were talking. And then when I connect the dots, I said, look, yeah, that's a destiny, and I had to be there. I had to focus on that, and I had to take it to survive. Because one of the the success for me is able to survive. If you are able to survive, you are successful in this life. That is what I believe. And I said, if I need to survive, I have to focus, and that's the way. That's how it came my.
And obviously, your girlfriend turned into your wife, so she was very supportive of all of the different parts of your entrepreneurial journey, which can be very intense. We often talk about finding a co-founder and the right match and everything like that. Like, how has the impact of having a supportive spouse been to you as a founder and as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, and you know what? To be honest, until I married, until I have a very deep, relation with my girlfriend and my wife, I realized I didn't understand how smart women are, smarter than us. That's my thought. Sorry, but what I think is, the women are really, their mindset, their brain, their analytic capability, their practical way. That is something different and very powerful. And I see, that there will be no power, or there will be no solution in the world, without woman mind. That's what I saw it. That's how I understood it. And otherwise, look, the remaining the past 3-4 years were difficult years for all of us.
Yeah.
Suddenly pandemic started, then divorce started. Now the outside is different. We care, we are scared about the climate change and what's gonna happen. So still, and mental health, problems increasing. So how I survived during these years, that was to be with my wife, and to think about the not only rational but also spiritual. Uh, because if you have meaning in life, if you have a belief, if you believe on the values, that value keeps you alive. And if I would be alone, probably with lots of problems, in the middle of those problems, I couldn't, focus. I couldn't concentrate to feel better, to relax, and just, with the anxiety, probably I would do lots of wrong decisions. My wife, put me in the right direction to think clearly and calm and rational. That's how I'm doing.
That's great. And that's a good segue to this question about like conversation like this are fantastic, because we kind of just touch upon, wow, you had a successful renewable energy company, then you had a successful investment firm, and now you're changing the world through Enbiosis. And I know that that journey is never that linear and never that easy. Can you describe sort of a moment, during that entrepreneurial journey where you were like, this might not work out, or this might fail, and how did you kind of overcome that obstacle at that moment to get on the other end here where you are now?
Yeah, I had a lot, not once. But let's just focus on the Enbiosis journey. Even in the Enbiosis, I had 3 times, that period, and the last one was very recent, by the way. And I know it will happen again and again, again and again, because it's like a sinus graphic of the heart, right? It goes up and down and up and down and up and down. That is life, And if it would be just stable, then you are dead. But of course, I started to think this way because I'm get used to it, and now I'm trained and I learn how to handle. But in the beginning, it was so difficult for me. I was sweating, and because it was a fear of like a child. You are really scared that if you lose something, if you lose your toy, you think that okay, you will lose everything. But when you understand you are not losing everything, maybe even you lose, you gain experience, you gain values, you meet new friends, new people, and you learn something, and it opens a new door. And when I realized, there are, infinite simulation, and we are just focusing on one simulation. We say, okay, I will do that, and I will jump to that, I will jump to that. We just see a linear, the future, and we are just following this path. But there's infinite number of simulations and lots of opportunities in the other lives, other, parts. And when you lose something, when you cannot achieve it, there are lots of things that are opening there. And when I realized it, I started not to scare. Today, what I am doing is, of course, I keep believing the simulation that I see. Okay, I have a vision. I see there. That's there. I'm just running there. But when the time comes and I see okay difficulties and I'm losing that feature, I just wait. But I do whatever I can do, everything. But after doing everything that I can do, just wait what the, let's say, cosmos, universe, all everything will do for you. And the previous 2 experiments, it had 3. The first one was very terrible, but the second one was also in the middle. But the third one, the recent one, I learned how to handle. I do whatever I can do and just wait, and it happens now. I guess, it is about the enlightenment. And today, uh, I'm not afraid of losing anything, because my intention is good. With this intention, if I lose it, it will happen somewhere, right? Maybe one of my colleagues that work with me will do something that will be also valuable, right? Maybe better. So I have no, but things are happening, and I guess getting better for Enbiosis. So I have no fears anymore. But even it happens, I say, because when you reach billions, there are always risk there, right? Because you are risk taking, you are developing, you are moving, you are trying to disrupt. Maybe in few years, when you reach some level that you think that nothing will happen to you, but one day you can go down. And we have experienced a lot in the company's history. Many giant companies almost dead because of the new companies, new technologies. It might also happen. We cannot just hug it, and it is like all our life. We just responsible to do whatever we can. That's how I see it.
And so, when you're doing whatever, like, I think you're correct. If you have the right philosophy and the approach, and that you're doing good, you can have peace with the outcome. But in the interim, you're doing everything that you can. Doing everything that you can be exhausting and tiresome. Before we started recording, we were talking about you have a vacation coming up. Like, what are some of the things that you do, to relieve some of the stress of the grind of trying to build a company?
Yeah, actually, when there were the bad days, to be honest, I couldn't enjoy a lot. When the difficulties are there, enjoying is not easy. But at least what I can do, what I have learned is, okay, maybe not to enjoy, but to calm down. And how to do it, spending as much as possible with the people who love, with the families, with your wife, with your child, with your parents, so the people around that you are really sure that they love you. When you have a stress, when you have bad days, when I speak to them, when I spend time with them, it helps me a lot. Of course, I cannot enjoy, but but it is healing. It's like medicine for me. But when I see some good signs, the things are happening, I say, okay, I deserve to enjoy. And I'm partying with my friends and going out and celebrating. It all happened in human history, right? When people won the war, they celebrated. For example, it is like I don't want to say I am like in a war, but let's say like a metaphor. If I'm in a war, I'm just fighting, right? But when I have good results, I enjoy. When I have some bad results, I am just turning back to my home, my territory, with the people who I care, who I trust, and spend time with them. And then when I am ready, I go out and fight again. That's something like that.
And for our final question, simple, straightforward one, like, if you were to talk to a new entrepreneur, is there any piece of advice that you would give him or her?
What I can say is, being entrepreneur is not achieving the success. I guess being entrepreneur is trying and trying. There is no common point for the entrepreneur. For example, not all entrepreneur are very smart or very educated. Not entrepreneur. There are different types of entrepreneur all over the human history. But there is just one common thing, that they never stop trying. Till we die, we have to try, and we shouldn't lose our hope. If we feel we are entrepreneur, and if we feel we are leader, we cannot stop. That's who we are.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. I truly enjoyed our conversation, and
Thank you. It's my
wishing you
pleasure.
much continued success.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you. It was my pleasure to talk to you.